Welcome to our volunteer management demo. Today, we're diving into a comprehensive overview on how our SmartSimple system streamlines and enhances the volunteer coordination process. Our volunteer management module is designed to empower coordinators and managers to effortlessly create and manage events. From providing a seamless platform for volunteers to apply to for opportunities, share their event experiences through stories, to logging their attended hours, we aim to facilitate efficient event management and tracking, while streamlining the behind-the-scenes process for coordinators and managers. So let's jump in and explore the key features of our volunteer management system. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding on how SmartSimple can transform your volunteer management experience. Let's get started. We'll begin by logging into our system with our email and password. Once I've accessed the platform, I first have to create the event that the volunteers will be applying to. I can achieve this from our Volunteer Manager portal, which can look something like this. It is important to note that all these portals are fully customizable and will include the information pertinent to the role that will have access to it. In this portal, we see that under our Events title, we have several shortcuts. New Events, it will allow us to create new event. A shortcut to approve our volunteer hours. Another one to approve stories. And we can see all of our published stories from this shortcut as well. I can see all the events that are sitting on our draft status as well as our active events. If we have any pending tasks, we can show them here, and we can also have a list of all the registrations that we have to our events so far. To begin our process, I'm going to create a new event. Once I click on my new event shortcut, I'll see the form that I have to fill out in order to configure our event. I'll complete all this information now. I have now completed my form, and some of the required information includes the event name, the event description, start date and end date. We can associate an organization to the event. If we have not previously created the organization that we want to associate, we can easily do so by clicking this hyperlink under our instructions. We can associate a contact as well. Under our additional details section, we can specify the time format of the event. So in this example, we can state if the event is occurring between specific dates, being date constrained, or if we are seeking volunteers on an open-ended basis. Depending on my answer, I will have to fill out more or less information, meaning that if it's date constrained, I will have to specify the shift in which the event will take place. State the registration start date and end date. We can seek a limited number of participants, include a wait list. We can also allow the users to invite other volunteers to register for the event with our invitation features, as well as decide if the volunteers will be provided t-shirts at the event. This will allow the volunteers to input their t-shirt size upon registration. Under our When and Where tab, we will define our location. So if it will be location specific or virtual. Depending on my answer, the form will change. Under Shifts is where I can set up the different shifts that the event will have. I can simply add shifts by clicking on our plus button, but now I will open one that I have previously created to demonstrate this sub-process. So once I have stated a shift name, a description, a start time, an end time, as well as our volunteer count, I can go ahead and schedule my shift, which will make it available for volunteers to apply to. At any point, the volunteer manager who is responsible for configuring the event can mark this shift as full, which will not allow any more volunteers to apply to this shift. Once the shift has been completed, the volunteer manager can also mark the shift as completed or even cancel the shift at any point. If I navigate back to my event, I can also include a section detailing skills or requirements, all the skills, specify if we have background checks that will be required, as well as waivers, and I can upload a waiver that the applicant will have to sign upon registration. Under our Media tab, I can upload an event image as well as any additional media. Under the Budget and Expenses section is where I'll specify the budget for the event via a table. For this demonstration, we have included the following categories: venue, catering, materials, marketing, equipment, and other. Under each category, I can add as many rows as needed with the expense, the amount, and then saved when satisfied. This will map my budget here for reference. Under our Task tab is where we can list tasks and assign the person who will be responsible for each task. We can easily create new tasks by clicking on our plus button. However, I'll navigate to one that I have previously created to demonstrate this sub-process. For our tasks, we have to define our task name, due date, task description, and upload any related documents, if any. Once I have assigned the person who will be responsible for this specific task under our contact field, I can go ahead and click on assign so that an email will automatically send to the assigned contact notifying them that they have a pending task. After the task has been completed, it can be marked as complete. Once we have completed all the required information for our event, we can go ahead and activate our event. This will make the event available on the volunteers portals, allowing them to register. Now that our event is active, we'll go ahead and review the volunteer registration process. I have now navigated to an external volunteer's profile to demonstrate the registration process. I will emulate their session in order to register as a volunteer to the event that we have just created. I am now viewing the system as a volunteer. On my volunteer portal, I can see a header with my information. I can navigate to my volunteer profile by clicking this pencil icon here or through my menu. We can ask the volunteer to fill out information upon their registration to the system. Basic information includes first name, last name, email, address, and profile picture. However, we can ask for additional information for the user to fill out. In this example, we have educational background, attributes and capabilities, CV, as well as previous volunteer experience, etc. In this example, we have also included a separate tab with all their volunteer request information in order for them to expand on their volunteer work. We can ask the areas that they have previously worked on, as well as their availability. We can also do open-ended questions for more information. If I navigate back to my main profile, I can see we have included some shortcuts to view, for example, my volunteer applications, the event stories that I have submitted and have been published, as well as a count with my submitted hours and my approved hours. Under my volunteering opportunities header, I can see all the volunteering events that are currently active. I'll navigate to the one that I have previously configured as a volunteer manager. After I have clicked in an opportunity, I can see the event details, the event name, affiliated organization, event description, start date and end date, as well as the location. I can see a button at the top labeled Apply Now to register to the event. For my registration, the first thing I have to do is specify to which shift I will be applying to. These are the shifts that we have previously configured as a volunteer manager. We can include a field for the media release. And since I have specified that we were going to offer t-shirts at the event, I am asked my t-shirt size. I am also asked to sign the waiver that I was provided by the volunteer manager when configuring the event. And finally, because we had established that the volunteer users can invite other volunteers to the event, I have a section where I can do so. Just have to click on invitations and then add a row with their name, last name, email, and then invite. After I have filled all my registration information, I can go ahead and submit. I have now successfully registered to my event. I have now returned to see the system as a volunteer manager, and I am currently in my volunteer manager portal. If I scroll down under registration, I'll see the registration that we have just submitted. Once the event has been completed and this volunteer has attended the event, I can mark them as attended. However, if there were a no-show, I can also mark them as no-show. I'll go ahead and mark them as attended so that this volunteer can submit their event stories as well as the amount of hours that they have volunteered for. I am now back to viewing the system as the volunteer. I am currently in my volunteer portal. To submit stories of the event, I simply have to navigate to my applications, go to the application for the event, and under Tell Your Story, click on Post My Event Story. I get a section to tell the story from my event, and I can upload photos and videos. Once I am done, I can go ahead and submit my story, which will have to be reviewed before published by the volunteer manager. From our volunteer portal, we can also submit the hours that we have volunteered for. To do so, I have to navigate back to my application, and under my volunteer hours, I see a plus button to input new hours. Here, I simply have to state my start date, end date, as well as the total hours I have volunteered for. I can also upload proof of hours if needed. After I'm done, I simply submit my hours for them to be reviewed by the volunteer manager. To finalize our process, I have navigated back to our volunteer manager's portal to approve the volunteers' hours as well as their stories. To do so, I simply have to navigate to our hours approval shortcut. In here, I'll see a list of all the hours that are pending approval. And once I've opened a record, I can simply approve or decline the hours. For our stories, I'll navigate back to our main portal, go to our stories approval shortcut, navigate to the story that needs approval, review it, and publish. I can then see all of our published stories easily from our Publish Stories shortcut in our main profile. That concludes our demo for our volunteer management at SmartSimple. If you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact our Platform Solutions team at platformsolutions@smartsimple.com.